The Ministry of Planning and Economic Development wishes to inform non-governmental organizations and the general public that with effective immediately, the Ministry has discontinued the issuance of temporary approvals for service level agreement of non-funded projects. This decision comes as part of a broader effort to streamline the project evaluation process and ensure that only funded projects that are aligned with the medium-term national development plan are processed by line ministries and inputted to the NGO Partnership Mapping Tool. The ministry also wished to note that it is paramount to emphasize that this action is not intended to impede the invaluable contributions made by NGOs in various spheres of societal development. Rather, it is a proactive step towards enhancing the integrity of the NGO sector and fostering greater public confidence and trust. Signed by the Development Secretary of the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development. Yeah, so the few years back, in order for us to track the projects that have been implemented by NGOs and ensure that the resources that are provided for those projects are judiciously utilized, the ministry thought it wise that organizations should sign a service level agreement. A service level agreement basically speaks to organizations presenting their projects to the line ministries. The line ministries will review those projects, ensure that the standards that are to be used for the implementation of those projects are being met, that the projects are properly aligned with government priorities. And now, as we talk about the medium-term national development plan, the big 5 game changer, that those projects are properly aligned with that. And above all, that underserved communities benefit from those projects. Because over the years, we've seen instances where communities or districts or regions are overserved, whilst other communities are underserved. And because we speak to the equitable distribution of resources, there is need for us to ensure that those underserved communities benefit. Hence, the need for the signing of the service level agreement. But in the process, we also are aware of the fact that there are organizations that want to register as NGOs. There are organizations that want to operate as NGOs but don't have funding for a particular project. Those organizations are required to go to the line ministries with their concept note on basically what they want to do. And then the ministry will then look at that concept note, ensuring that that concept note, the ideas in that concept note are aligned with the priorities of government, that the areas they want to implement, should they have funding for those projects, the areas they want to implement are areas that are in dire need of those interventions. And above all, they look at the resources, ensuring that at least 70% of the resources are used directly for project implementation, and at most 30%. So look at all those areas, components, and then they issue a temporary approval on the understanding that once you receive funding for those projects that do receive temporary approvals, you come back to the line ministry, they review based on what you've agreed with the donor, and then you sign the service level agreement with the honorable minister of that particular ministry. That has been the norm. That has been basically the operating standard for the past years. But we've seen instances where organizations have misused that opportunity. They will come, they receive the temporary approvals, they go, and then 2-3 months down the line, they will receive funding for those projects, but they will never come again to the line ministry to sign the service level agreement. So it becomes difficult for line ministries to track those interventions. It becomes difficult for MoPED to input, because we have the partnership mapping tool that shows who is doing what, where, when, and why. So it's difficult for us to input those interventions. And in most cases, there are duplications, and the resources are not used as expected, simply because we are unable to track them. Over those instances, I've had cause to engage this NGOs, the Minister of Planning. In most cases, will ask me to engage these organizations. We'll engage them. Some will come, they will go on. But we've seen perpetually organizations doing what is not expected of them. And so as a result, the ministry, in consultation with line ministries and SLANGO, thought it wise that there is need for us to put on hold the issuance of temporary approval, because we know there has been a misuse. So moving forward, we'll only issue you a temporary approval if you have funding for a particular project. You go to the line ministry, they review your project, or maybe the minister is not available to sign the service level agreement. So they will give you a temporary approval because projects are time-bound. And we expect organizations to implement projects based on the timelines agreed with their donors. So we don't want to be an impediment to them. So we'll give you that temporary approval for you to start. But once the minister is available, you come, they will call you to a meeting, you sign the service level agreement, and then they give you the original copy. No more temporary approvals for non-funded projects. So if, for instance, any organization comes, say, oh, I don't have funding, I've applied for funding but I've not received commitment from them, but I need a temporary approval because I want to register with MoPED, I want to register with local councils, we won't provide you with that document because we don't want a tendency for future misuse of that.
So what